This is episode 237, and we are talking about healing from childhood neglect. So, heavy topic.
Big time.
But welcome to Wellness in Every Season. We talk all things wellness regarding the environment that you spend a lot of your time in, your physical health, your intellectual health, your financial health, your spiritual health, professional health, your social health, who you have relationships with, your emotional health. This is a really big umbrella, so expect all kinds of topics within all of these amazing dimensions of your wellness. Let's dive in. Today I have with me Severin Lang, and he's done a lot. And if you are watching video, if you check out his hair, you can tell he's a hairstylist. Looks awesome.
Thank you.
He's a director, a coach, hairstylist, artist, and you wrote sober. What's the sober part?
I've been cleaning sober for working on 13 years.
That's a big deal.
Out of my life, that's the biggest accomplishment that anyone can take.
I agree. When I don't even remember which class, I think it was my drugs of use and abuse class. I learned that 1 in 3 people are addicts and it has to do with mental health.
Yep.
It's because they need that crutch. And it
Yeah.
makes sense with what we're going to be talking about with childhood neglect. You said that you grew up with a father who's schizophrenic. There's a lot of heavy stuff here, so it makes sense that you needed that crutch.
Self-medicated. Yeah. I didn't start drinking until much later in life, like consistently drinking. The monkey mind always wanted, the body wanted the alcohol to escape, to soothe something. That could be once a week. It could be twice a week, but your mind is always fixated on that drink or the drug of choice. And that's alcohol thinking. A family unit, for what I understand, there's generally one main caregiver, as in the daily routines with the child. And then you have support from the other, or it's just a single parent type of thing. And my father was the main caregiver, as in after school, always home to take care of me and my brother, and always the reliable one, as in kids need to be picked up and drop off type of thing. 'Cause my mom worked, she was a workaholic. So she worked and went to school all the time. So she was always gone. I didn't know what my father had schizophrenia until much later in life. So I thought this was a normal childhood, but realizing by far it's not. Let me address the issue that my father had. Was he was schizophrenic. He's no longer living. He passed away in 2018. He had a paranoia situation, and it was manageable. He can live within society with medication. His paranoia made the problem. His mother was undiagnosed schizophrenic and also Alzheimer's at a young age. But the schizophrenia part was undiagnosed, but she was showing a lot of symptoms as a younger age as well. My dad was the main child who always was with his mom. So his paranoia is thinking that he got schizophrenia from his mom, which genetically is not far from the truth, genetically. But he thought he was transmitted like a virus from his mom, and he didn't want to do that to his kids. So he decided not to talk to us, not to have interactions with us. He would have presence within the room, but not say, sons, don't do that. You need to do this. I would hear what he wanted to tell us a day later through my mom, the morning after. It's like, oh, your dad says this. Oh, your dad says that. Needs to have a man in their life to have bumpers to bump against, to learn from. That's just the nature of the beast. My father was not present for that. The only time Then me and my brother would hear him speak is through a closed door, talking to my mom, Lita, or at the pulpit. My dad was a pastor. So when he was speaking in front of the church, you would hear him speak in theology ideas and Bible verses galore, and dumbfounded. But I didn't know mentally what was wrong with him until he had a meltdown. It's schizophrenic break when I was about 5. That's when I knew something was wrong because he was hospitalized for a couple months. And then we were kicked out of the small town. After that, we moved. That's when more of the severe neglect happened. So when I was before 5, there was some interactions, not a lot, but enough to maintain a so-called healthy childhood idea of a father. And my dad was heavily medicated, didn't show emotion, didn't like structurally anything. And how I learned, I'm dyslexic, severely dyslexic. So I watch people. I watch and I listen. Reading is horrible with me, but with that type of young mind, with that disability, you need to be groomed differently than a normal child. My brother was fine. He was older and he had friends to learn from. He was getting some type of mentorship with friends and teachers, but I was stuck alone. Circumstances of my dyslexia isolating me more. My dad was a good guy, a good man, is what I heard from when he passed away. I learned a lot more about my father after he died than I experienced. Because what I experienced on my father was just stone cold, not addressing his kids, not communicating or talking, not saying, saying, I love you. Like the only time I heard him would say out when we moved into a house, our rooms were down the hall, just kitty corner from each other. So we left the doors open and we would do a call out, it's like, I love you, mom. I love you, dad. I love you, mine. And that was the only time I would hear those words nonchalantly, typically, as a response. Oh, I'm 47 years old. And these memories of neglect are just now I'm coming to terms with because of my sobriety. So, like, it's a blessing and also a curse. So, when my brother passed away in an asthma attack in 1990, I was looking for help. I was confused and trying to figure out what's going on. And there was no feedback from my father from that death. I was 11 and still pliable. I'm still influenced by other people strongly, like every kid is at that age. And it's interesting about trauma and neglect and things that we experience that women naturally, when they give birth, they totally forget the pain. And that's a beautiful thing. Trauma has the same thing for anyone. It's a safety mechanism for safety. So your mind will just forget. Your body won't. Your mind will choose to lock it away and put it away for later problems. So I was already a quiet kid and watching my father through that trauma. He didn't really show much emotion. The mother, she's the vocal person of the family. And every time I would have a remembrance of my brother, she would have a complete meltdown and my dad would just walk away. So I assume he was having a meltdown. There's no assistance, no therapy, no nothing. No, it's going to be okay. My mom made an effort. We would go for breakfast early in the morning before she had to go to work, before I get dropped off to school. What I want to address, like my normal There's no normal. And I know a lot of people have gone through a lot worse than neglect, but my response is you got a physical response, positive or negative. You got a response of some type of emotion. So you have a basis of what emotion is. And what I learned, my basis is no emotion. And it's coming full circle of relationship building problems and mental health issues, not schizophrenia, but like drinking too much. But through my teenage years, I was in need of some type of male guidance. So I joined the Boy Scouts of America. And that was kind of like a staple thing back where I was from. At a young age, you go to Cub Scouts and you go to Boy Scouts afterwards, if you're not into heavily in sports and all that. So I learned about life through Boy Scouts, but there's also another problem that happened psychologically, that there was a predator in the midst to the Boy Scouts. So I was abused after my brother passed away. So one trauma built on top of another. And I just completely shut down emotionally. But I still had some of my buddies remind me, like, I helped them renew their vision of spirituality, their faith at like 18, 19 years old, through to college and all that stuff. I was like one of their friends that helped them to understand what faith and religion is. So I was still with it, but that was because of my life was just church and school and survival. I kind of latched on to spirituality, understanding, but it didn't solve any of my mental and physical issues. It just allowed me to try to connect with people, but I still have a problem connecting. And my father wasn't abusive.
But neglect is an abuse.
Everyone thinks, yes, physical abuse. He wasn't just abuse. And we're so programmed that you think abuse is just physical. It's like verbal. I moved to LA. I took a career health wise. You heard of The Body Has Memory?
The body's a score?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to my dyslexic talking. If you understand that theory that the body keeps score, keeps memory, and you understand psychology, and then understand what an autoimmune disease is.
Give us some cliff notes.
Autoimmune disease is the body attacking itself. Could be anything within the body. You're inflamed, like random areas, but the body attacks itself. Autoimmune disease is an unknown cause. There's no evidence of how it gets started. But if you talk to psychologists and the mental health people, they're like, hey, these X, Y, and Z people have autoimmune disease. They have trauma in their life. They have inflammation issues. So they have this type of disease and they have this and this and this. So the body keeps score. Even though if you don't remember it, or if you are triggered somehow, that's your body subconsciously reacting to something that you don't.
I need to heal something.
That's like, why am I acting like this? Yeah. Oh, there's something there. So they have to dig. But the bottom of the barrel for me, I got diagnosed with autoimmune disease when I was early 20s.
Okay. There it tells you how bad things were if you were diagnosed that young.
That young. And every doctor I talked to were like, this is a woman's disease. Now I'm thinking, you mean women have more trauma than men? That's because
we hold it in differently.
You hold it in way differently than men. That I do agree.
You only really had a female in your life.
Yeah. So there's weird connections that are like happening at a young age. I'm like, okay. My doctor's like, move out of Iowa. Whatever you do, move out of Iowa, go somewhere warm, and then this will be manageable, which is true.
Interesting that I told you that, not realizing that you needed to get away anyway.
He's like, I can't tell you how to live your life because he was a smoker. I was a smoker at that time. I can't tell you where. So get out of here. He was a very nice guy. He helped me the most to figure out this autoimmune disease. So I took that to heart. Hairstyling was my ticket out because I don't learn like everyone else does with the normal educational system. And I'm very artistic and I don't want to wear a suit to work or a computer or random people. So I wanted artistic freedom and creativity. And so I got into hair at a random circumstances. And my first job was in Las Vegas. When I moved to Las Vegas, my drinking increased because I was trying to socialize. And then the depression set in and isolation set in. But I was still going to work, reliable there. But I was having trigger points everywhere. Like guys were trying to become friends, just general dudes, just want to be friends. But I like ignore them. I make more female friends than guy friends
Safer.
and safer, right? And I know how to control myself. So anyway, the down of the down when I got sober was 2013. And at that time I was becoming homeless. I got kicked out of my apartment because I couldn't pay anymore. And I was drinking like a rampage. And everything I tried, self-help books to writing positivity, journaling, which I don't journal because my handwriting is crap. Talking to someone really didn't help. And all this time, flashes of my father came back in my life, isolating me because I was getting so drunk that I was having flashbacks. I drank to feel. And then when I was feeling, then I drank to numb it out. So it was this ongoing problem. So anything I was trying to do in life, it kept on faltering. I went on to 10-day retreat, no speaking retreat, meditation retreat. Awesome. Didn't help. I still drank. I'm still feeling the worst. Then a friend of mine asked me to go to a seminar, and the seminar was talking about becoming your own leader, things like that. I just finally committed to myself, like I'm tired of pissing in the wind. Because everything you do that you throw out there within the wind just splatters back right at you. So all this effort you're trying to change your life and it just still crumbles. Something's wrong. And it's you. It's not the exterior. Every effort that I made was just going nowhere. I was going nowhere. So I had to change it. I didn't know how, but so I explained that in the seminar. I got sponsored in the seminar, so that was cool. But that seminar program, a training, leadership training, broke the ice for me to admit that I'm an alcoholic. I was grieving so much and suppressing so much emotion from this neglected father that when he was on his deathbed, he still couldn't talk at all. I was trying to ask questions like, you're dying, dude. I need to know. Why did you ignore me? And he would just go into some scripture, which is not nonsense, but that was in safety mode. It's like, what did I deserve to receive this? That's the child within me, but the adult's like, that's the best that you could do. And I have to constantly look for the little things that he tried to do. Every concert I had, he was there. Every Boy Scout thing, he was there. He was present, wasn't present. It's like every type of relationship I get into, I'm like, hey, look, this is what you're on to get into, just to let you know. I don't express my emotions very well. And receiving emotions is I can take your emotions on head on. I'm fine with it. But if you're having trouble reading me, just ask me. Don't assume because you will not able to read me whatsoever. And so it's like an interview process once I get into a relationship.
Healing is a journey. It's not you're going to be healed, period. Which I know when I first started therapy and was just desperate to actually sleep and not have the night terrors happening, that I was just realizing I'm not going to be healed and done. And it's like, are you serious? Because I did not ask for this stuff. This was done to me as a child. Why is this fair? And going
Like
through that whole cycle. And I'm sure that's where your mind went a lot of the time when you were going through.
COVID allowed me, man, everyone was locked down. Everyone's going crazy. And I was getting clients texting me, like, do my hair, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, don't go away. I'm happy. Leave me alone. I can isolate. I've done so much recovery work trying to understand more about me that it kind of broke me more in a way. It chipped off some layers and opened up the onion more, but I was unable to go for long walks or become more social because the underlying emotion that I was experiencing was I'm unworthy. And that is still at my root core now. That I am unworthy. And like my mother, awesome, she's very strong willed, but has that mother remorse not idea, but so we raised you, right? In my head, like, no, you didn't. And she caught me on a bad day. And I called her out. I called everything. Like, we did the night. I'm like, no, I'm more fucked up now than I was then.
The reason why is because you've been able to see more, see how bad it was. Like, why do you feel like you're more messed up now than you were then?
Uh, as you mature and learn life experiences, you'll get perspective. But once you become awakened, when I say awakened, I mean you're able to look at yourself when you're having a tissy fit or an outbreak, and you're looking at yourself from up here, from away. You're zooming out in the situation and you're looking at yourself. If you can do that, that means you're becoming more awake. And if you're unable, you have a lot of work to do. But I say more messed up now because I see the programming I was in or have been in, and I'm unable to change it. In relationships, it causes more problems. But as I'm arguing, I know it's because of childhood issues. Some people get in arguments not knowing that they have childhood issues, and bless them, hope they can find a better way. Once you become more aware and you're unable to change things, it becomes a battle between yourself and your ego. And it's frustrating. And sometimes you get short tempered with people, and it has nothing to do with them.
Can't run away from yourself.
No, wherever you go, there you're at, type of thing. And
Yep.
yeah, if you're look, like every family is different, every childhood is different. I get that. But as a child, you might have the same physical PTSD response as someone that was physically abused or someone that was neglected or was raised by an orphanage. How you connect to trauma through experiences can be totally different, but your reactions are the same. It can be just you saw someone getting murdered and now traumatize you, but I still might have body reactions. It gives me the same response as this other person. So the body holds trauma almost the same, but the event is different. And like, there's no competition, right? Your body has a trauma response to something. My body does too. The solution is to start admitting that I might have a problem. And if you can admit that, then the next step is like, where do I find help? How do I find help? Who do I talk to? You know, what is safe, what is not? That is really hard to find. Someone safe to just unload, either you pay them like a shrink or something, or from like a group of people got through the same experience, or listening to podcasts or interviews, things like this. But there's, but that's why I latched on to AA so much, because no matter how much I've gone through and been dealing with, I know someone has been dealing with worse and got recovery and is doing awesome. It has coping mechanisms to work with all this crap. So I have someone to go to.
So is
So
it one of those, if they can do it, I can do it?
yeah, I can actually talk to someone. That's why it's so important to find like-minded people. Coming to terms with the fact that I was neglected, or how private my parents were, because one of my uncles didn't know how severe it was. That was like a wake up call. I'm like, wow, okay, so it's worse than I thought. The unworthiness is still present, and I didn't put two together until a aha moment or a wake up call, which was, what is neglect? Or actually, what is abuse? And then neglect follows underneath that. And what does child neglect do to someone in the long term? And that was, I have that, but that's normal. It's not. And I guess what's bothering me the most is like the wanting to connect with people, but not able to.
Makes sense.
I'm talking to a therapist now, first time in my life. So I finally understood what I need to do, type of thing. Like it's clicking, like I'm trying to understand why I'm going through all this stuff. Is that a friend of mine, she's a alternative healing, and there's like your throat problems, because I'm having thyroid issues. And also my throat is, my voice vocal is hoarse. So I've always sound nasally. And he's like, everything you've done medically is not going to solve the problem. Problem is your past, and you're not talking. So I decided I need to find a way to communicate better and spread the word. Neglect is the foundation next to my dyslexia of my childhood. And those two things have shaped me strongly. I would like to change some things, but I still want to be the person I am now.
What I've noticed, and I'm sure it's for you and for all those that are listening, is we've had to grow up faster than we were meant to.
100%.
But we are still immature in areas because we did not have that support. And one area that you mentioned in particular is a strong one for me. And I actually have a poster up here that you can't really see, but it's actually for me to look at. And it's the feelings wheel, because I have a hard time being able to accurately say, this is what I'm actually feeling, not whatever I'm band-aiding over it that I was allowed to feel as a child. Is like, what is deeper than that? And I've matured a lot in being able to actually name my emotions and feel the correct emotion, not the one that I'm trying to turn it into that I'm used to feeling and was allowed to feel.
Yeah.
Another one is just being comfortable with myself in silence has been a big thing. And I hope that other people will recognize that maybe in other people and give them grace and most of all with themselves. This goes back to you talking about worth. One thing that has been huge for me over the past couple years that I've really worked on with myself is I know you won't relate to this as well because I have children, and there's so much of it is there is no way in hell I would treat my children that way. And realizing that has helped me with my own worth of, oh, no, that was not okay. I have one girl and she is a complete mini me. So it's really interesting to see, oh, that's what I would be like without all that trauma and abuse. And I would never do that to her. So how dare you do that to childhood me?
Yeah.
Or for you, it's looking at the child version of yourself as an adult and picturing holding your child self when you need that. Like, I'm here for you, kind of that mentor.
Yeah. Mhm.
This was not okay. And I see that. And there is no way that you deserved any of this because no child deserves any type of abuse.
Exactly.
Criticism, they don't deserve that. No one thrives in that. Why do you think we are in such a society where we are pushing therapy? It's because we need it. How many adults do you see, like elderly adults, that are saying, well, I survived. Good for you, but did you thrive? No, I survived this, or I've lived this long with this problem. Why would I change it now? Don't you want to thrive?
Yeah.
Life is so much better on the other side. And for anybody who is starting to say those things, what was the catalyst to you going to therapy? You've already done AA.
So a therapist, ultimately their idea is that if you get the right therapist, is that they are just a listening ear and they question and they let you talk, create a welcoming environment. But what got me into it is I'm going through a lot right now, like a lot. And I want to drink, but I don't want to drink. Like that's my egos. I like, yeah, take that. I used to drink a gallon of vodka every 36 hours.
Your poor body.
I'm physically allergic to alcohol fermentation. I already anyway, I was stuck. I am stuck and I'm going through so much stress. And I only talk to my partner. She's like, I'll just talk to me. I'm like, no, yes, I will talk to you, but I won't talk to you because there's no answers. And you already know my problems. You live it with me every single. So if you're having problems in your life, you're stuck and you're stagnant, even stagnant, where things are just going just normal, but you have that little voice who like more, but you just can't move past on. You can't move forward. You're always like stuck or frozen. A therapist or talking to a group will guide you to start unlocking. I don't want to push medication because they don't help me. It will regulate you. Sure. It doesn't for me. If you're one of the ones that respond to it, yeah, it helps. If you're just exhausted of your life and you're not thrilled for anything, you definitely need to talk to someone. If you're drinking too much or gambling too much or sex too much or like anything that's like an addictive personality, there's programs out there. There's support out there for any issues that we are experiencing. You just have to be willing. And if you're Anthony Hopkins, he's in recovery out here in LA and wherever he's. I've been to a couple of his meetings that he was at. And it's called a bucket where you are so desperate to change, you don't know how to do it, you submit. So the willingness to, you just have to accept everything and just be humble and to accept that you're powerless over the situation. I'm done fighting, trying to change when there's no change in mind. Whatever I'm doing, it's not working. So I can take the leap of trying to do therapy. If you're someone that has been through, if you had trauma, like a lot of us, but your body says, screw you, you're going to have autoimmune disease. There's new stuff out there. So there's days where I couldn't really get out of bed because of my autoimmune flare-outs. I'm just tired of being stuck. All the support in the world is not enough sometimes. You have to do it. They can't do it for you.
And it seems so unfair.
And yeah, yeah,
Worth
it's worth it. But here gets me in trouble. Like, thanks, universe. Thanks, God. I'm going through this experience because one day I'm going to touch someone's life that would change them dramatically, and they're going to change millions of people.
That's my motivation too.
Me speaking out about this, me writing a play about these things I'm trying to do to set me up to spread the word. It's like, I know I'm going to touch someone. In my weird thinking and formatting of things and how I present it. And I just have to hold on to that idea and not get stuck. In therapy, I have never done it. So if you feel like you're pissing in the wind, meaning everything that you're trying to do to change your life or change something within your life, and you didn't have a really good childhood, it's time to do some self-reflection. Some
I love the cringe with it. Because part of it is cringe, right?
It is cringe. It's crusty. It's so crusty at times.
But you're right, it does take away the jagged edges.
Correct.
But the thing is, when I started therapy, I noticed that my body would be like, oh, we're ready to like, here's all this other stuff. I went to therapy for one thing. And my body was like, we're doing a whole bunch more. And for anybody who's stuck in therapy, where you kind of start plateauing, I added on somatics. I started working with a somatics coach and it up leveled it so much. I
I've
didn't
heard.
need to go through all the deep stuff. I was going through the body sensations instead of all the trauma again,
Oh, there you go.
where therapy was
Yeah,
re-traumatizing.
this is re-triggering. This is why I don't like it.
Yeah, but I
But
loved EMDR, where I had the reprocessing with it. Anybody needs therapy, talk to
EMDR,
doc.
speaking of that, EMDR can be done in the office or there's an online service. Okay.
I have an app now.
When I found out EMDR, a buddy of mine asked me to support him in an AA meeting. He was going to speak. And generally, what that means, that's like he's going to call you out type thing. And he did. I knew he was going to ask me to read. I I don't read out loud very well. I mean, I'm decent. I'll toot my horn a little bit. I'm not that bad, but it took me forever to get there. But anyway, it's not the reading. It is what my body experiences just to start and to get through it. So if you don't know what EMDR is, it's a cycle of light patterns and noises and thought process. A couple questions before you go through, and then you do another couple questions. So I took the experience, thought of the experience through the first session, then wrote about it, then wrote about the positives, emotions, and ideas at different events. And then I thought about those feelings and right after. So you go, there's 2 steps, actually 4. Write EMDR, write EMDR. And I went to the meeting, asked me to read right through it. No sweats, no nervousness, no inks, no nothing. And afterwards, and I was like, well, game changer. Game changer. If you have a trauma, that thing will work. You have to believe in it.
You have to get in this, like, really good zone, because if you try too hard and you're just like, "Here, take it," it doesn't quite
Yeah.
work. It's
It-
like this spot where you have to trust yourself to work, but
and someone asked me, what is it like afterwards?
at
It's
the same
exhausting
time.
because my event that I was going through was very traumatic for any first grader. So now thinking of that event, I'm able to be out here behind it and looking down on it and not having a reaction. Just like, oh, that's happening right now. Okay. I feel sorry for that kid. Oh, that's me. I feel sorry for myself, type of thing. So it doesn't transfer as much. That's how I explain EMDR.
And you sleep really well.
Yeah, right. Meditation helps.
And that's what I was gonna get to next, is I've noticed that it needs to be layers of different things. This isn't quite hitting as hard as it used to. What's the next thing that I can do? And this is where the wellness part comes in, is what else can I do? And when you're healing, and you mentioned this a little bit, is it's that slowing down. So this isn't where you're going and you're doing hardcore workouts. This is where maybe you're going for a walk, which I think in that
Yeah.
meditation, more sleep, a little more silence.
People who got through trauma want to distract ourselves, to deflect and go away. We don't want to have that emotion or experience that. And if you're willing, meditation works. And the one that I got connected with and what changed my life, it's called Vipassana. It's a skill from the Buddhist teachings, but
How do you
it's a
spell Vipassana? What kind of meditation is this?
so it's not a religion. It's based off of Buddhist theology. This is their practice for meditation, one of them. And by the way, Christianity has lost their ways of not teaching meditation. It's there. It should be there, which is that it's never taught anymore, which is
Isn't that part of what prayer is?
no, prayer is after meditation. If you meditate to regulate, then serve. So Vipassana, it's very simple. You just breathe in through your nose, blow out your mouth. That's it. You pay attention to temperature change in your nose and then out your mouth. Feel that temperature change. And then if you can hold that and then you notice like a itch, like on your elbow, you want to go for it. Don't just acknowledge it. You're like, oh, there's an itch. There's an itch on my elbow. Oh, there's an itch. Breathe. Oh, that's cold air, warm air. And it no longer itch.
No, I totally itch it. That's why I have to do guided meditation.
So
Huh.
yeah, so if you just pay attention, just your nose breathing, or the you can breathe in your mouth too, but the temperature change.
When
There's
I
a lot.
Googled this, that the meaning is to see things as they really are, or insight in Pali. I thought that
Yeah,
you'd appreciate that.
no, it's good. If you can do the 10-day retreat, it's mind blowing. That was the beginning of a shift when I took it. When I moved to LA, I got so much road rage. It's just stupid traffic. I'm from Iowa, so we don't have traffic. It's just like go, just move. For 5 days, I was so angry at myself because you just left there, everything in your head, listening to the instructor, and but you can't respond, you can't do anything, so you're just stuck. And then finally, once it clicks, 10 hours goes by, and you're like, oh, that's it. It's pretty cool. But I always breathe in, breathe out throughout the day just to calm myself. Like from having triggers, seriously, if I can observe my trigger, I will breathe through it because of the meditation skill I learned. And that will help regulate me and calm me down. So if we had an experience that you have a lot of triggers, I would try meditation.
What
Real
I've
quiet.
noticed with that is make sure you're doing the down, you're regulating down.
Yes, not
So
regulating
your
the,
exhale.
yeah, the down breathing to, it's more of the calming breathing
Yeah.
to regulate, not the hyperventilating stuff, which I've done. But
Even
that would,
hearing people do that for their own breathing exercises starts to trigger me. So just be mindful of what your triggers
very,
are.
yeah, exactly. Like therapy is definitely is a new experience for me, so I can't really,
Helping. It sounds like you've tried many different things,
yeah,
adding things on as things need to fall off because they're no longer working or whatever.
you have to, it's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
Like these are the things I've done. They may not work for you. And you may say, oh, they won't work for me. Like, then try it. Actually, really try it to say, no, this does not work for me.
So stay curious.
Because what it boils down to is fear. Your ego is keeping you locked in. Oh, it won't work for me. Like, have you tried? Well, no, I know it's not going to work. That's your ego. Your ego wants to be in misery, but yourself, the higher consciousness, the reason why you're having issues, it's popping his head up like, hey, I'm here. I'm uncomfortable now. We need to work on this. Get the ego out of the way. So if you're having conflict, that's a good, yeah,
And it makes sense because we need to figure out a way to cleanse ourselves because our spirit is bigger than our body.
100%.
Anybody questions this, be around either somebody who's short or a child, and you'll be like, holy cow, yes, you are so much bigger than your body size. And thinking about it with the body keeps the score idea is that if you think about it, there is that disconnect, right? Because it's stuck in your body and your spirit's bigger and your spirit's saying, we need to get rid of this so we can reconnect again. Because trauma, especially in childhood, because childhood is when you have that foundation. We weren't allowed to have that foundation when we needed it, right? So trauma at any age is awful, but it's most especially in childhood.
Yeah.
It's harder to recover from if it's in childhood. So we're trying to rebuild that foundation so we can have that connection that we should have had and never fully had with our spirit and our body. And that is a very big deal. And that's where we end up having this, where we feel like we're fighting ourselves. And that's where the autoimmune disease comes in to play. Thyroid stuff comes into play. And it makes sense because you never felt like you could speak up for yourself.
Correct. Or express emotion.
Yep. And that can happen with your different chakras, where maybe if you were sexually abused, you have issues with your hips, your pelvic floor area. I've gone down several rabbit holes within my own healing, let alone coaching other people. But the story from all of this that's really coming through for me is it is absolutely a journey.
100%.
There is healing along the way. You will come through, think of it like hiking, and you'll come through the other side of this, and then something else is going to come up like this is the next thing to heal. And think of it more like this is the next gift that you get to unwrap. This healing gets to happen. There's sucky parts to it,
Yeah.
but like you were also saying, you can then shed that light for somebody else.
The experiences that you've gone through is actually not for you. It's for someone else. Your experiences are done. You have to have some positive twist or you're going to go through some morbid stuff. So you have to get the mindset, like my experiences that I've been through, the worst of the worst that anyone can imagine. It's done because your story is going to help someone else. Just because no one helped you does not mean you can't help someone else. So
And maybe you
like,
should help somebody else because nobody helped you.
correct.
And I love what you also said with the whole idea of body keeps the score is that it doesn't matter what your trauma was.
Does not.
Your
Absolutely
body
not.
recognizes it.
As trauma.
It shows up the same way in your body.
Yeah.
And that's a really big deal. And remember that when you start doing the, well, mine isn't as bad as that person, because you're still going down the whole worthy train. And then I'm laughing because there's a SNL quote that my husband has shown me, and it's funny. It's a therapist saying, I can cure you of anything. All right, well, let's try it. And She starts stopping her. I'll bury you alive in a box.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you haven't seen it, Google it.
Google
Funny,
it. It's
enjoy it.
hilarious.
There's your therapy session. It is
Yeah.
that. Anyway, and no, it's not realistic. That's what's funny about it.
Yeah.
But help the other person behind you. Be the person that you needed. Know that it is a journey. Know that your trauma is valid. What you are going through is valid. I am not a hugger.
100%.
Picture me hugging you. Okay. For everybody, like, we all need that. We all deserve it. And even the worst
Okay.
person in the world deserves to feel love and worth. And probably they're the worst person in the world because they did not.
Correct. Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Do you say I'm sorry a lot?
Even more, I've noticed females do it. And then people with trauma do it a lot.
So here's the thing that I add into some of my little talks, I think. So also being a hairstylist, I observed a lot from the perspective behind the chair, but being around women a lot, girls, is that, and I catch people are close to me, and I constantly remind them, if you've gone through trauma, any type of trauma, and you say, I'm sorry, stop saying I'm sorry. And I'll explain. So I'm sorry. You say that to an intimate person, someone that you're going to give your life to, your intimacy with, your intimacy, not sex. I'm talking about just a connection of vulnerability, someone that you trust completely. That's the only time you say, I'm sorry. Just say, I apologize or I regret. Saying, I apologize cuts that connection off. You're not handing over your vulnerability. You're giving the stranger your intimacy, your vulnerability by saying, I am sorry. You're being intimate to a stranger. If you had trauma, you're always bowing down. You put yourself down by saying that. Now just go to someone who you care and just do a little experiment. He was like, I just need to feel something. So just bear with me and just say, I'm like, just like yell at them or like whatever, just like smack them on the shoulder or whatever. And then say, I'm sorry. Feel that. Okay. What you experience, slap it on the shoulder again or something. And then say, I apologize. You're going to feel you're going to feel a disconnection from I apologize. You're not connected to that person whatsoever. Or I regret. You're not feeling that connection. You're not handing over your will to. I'm sorry. You're giving over everything to them and you're expecting a response. But when you say, I regret or I apologize, you don't need an answer. You don't need forgiveness from them. You just need, it's like, I apologize. Really, I apologize. But you say, I'm sorry. You're expecting, I forgive you. You want forgiveness. You don't need to do that, especially you've been through trauma.
I haven't had to think about that for a while.
It's very challenging.
What I learned is that when you apologize for something, if it's something that you didn't do, like, I'm sorry that happened to you, or, oh, I'm so sorry, I wish I could help in some way, when you have no fault whatsoever, psychologically, what you're doing for that other person is making them think, well, are they at fault? As soon as I heard that, I'm like, that's actually true. So it kind of starts to do this when that's not what your intention is. What your intention is to draw closer to them. Like, I am feeling what you're feeling. I'm so sorry that it's happening, that type of thing. And the way to get around that, it doesn't work for every situation. So like if you're running late, thank you for waiting for me instead of saying I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just acknowledging their existence.
Or what I've done to
Yeah.
people is I say, you know what? I don't accept your apology because it's not needed. And it takes them a second. I make sure I smile and then I'm like, I don't accept it because, and I do it really fast. So they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't need to apologize. And I'm like, I know. You're
So,
welcome.
so on this type of same sorry type of thing, and you hit something like, It's like, oh, I had a brother. I'm like, oh, what happened? Like, oh, he passed away when I was younger. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's all your fault. They're like, what? I'm like, dude, you have nothing to be sorry about. Like, you weren't there. It's not your fault. You don't need it. You don't need to say that. They like just took him off edge. I'm like, but I'm like, you're not sorry. You just have it. You're feeling my emotion. Like you're feeling pity, which is okay. But then I go in my whole sorry thing. Like, you can't hold my burden. That's an old burden. You weren't there. So it's all good. I get it. A different approach.
But the thank you for the other situations has been helpful. And really, what you said is true. When we apologize, we are shrinking ourselves down.
Especially when people have trauma, especially sexual abuse or rape. This is huge, especially if I meet someone that's gone through that experience. If I'm around them when they say that, I try to correct them as quickly as possible. Be like, first saying, I'm sorry. I'm like, you're being submissive. It's not necessary. Like you're handing over your will to me. Like I don't want it. And you shouldn't give it to me.
There's some people I remind them you can take up space and you should.
Yeah, exactly. So it's little habits that I notice that are pattern forming childhood that I'm becoming more of aware. Once you become awakened, you're like, oh, ew, ew, I don't want to do that again. Or like, why am I doing that? My biggest issue is I'm still dealing with worthiness, um, worthy of love generally, and like being closed off. And
It was social media like 11 years ago. There's no way I could find it for you. Or it would take a really long time. I shouldn't say no way. But it was, I'm sure there's science behind it at this point. She was interviewing some people that were close in her life and some of the negative things that they tell themselves. And then she brought up their childhood picture and she said, now say it to that person. Every one of them broke down. That is why is imagine childhood you, or even better, have a picture of childhood you around to remind yourself. Look
yeah,
at this
that's good.
child. Absolutely, this child is worthy. And if you can't get to, I am that same child, at least start there. Know that it's a step at a time, but there's no way childhood you deserved any of that stuff. And then when you can get there, remember that childhood you is still within you. So no way does adult you deserve that stuff either.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean go and be awful to the world because the world owes you. No. But remember that you are worthy of goodness. So, how do we get into your world for those that really resonated with you, want to be on the healing journey with you?
I'm on social media, Severin Lang. So SEVERNLANG is one of my handles. And then severinlang.com. Best is social media. I'm more on Instagram than anything, and I generally reply. So just shoot me a DM.
Thank you for being on. I could definitely see the emotions through there. I know that after this conversation, it'll still take you a little bit probably to wind down from this. You'll probably still be meditating on this for a while. So
Yeah.
know
I'm gonna
that
do
we appreciate you for going through this with
yeah,
us, for reminding ourselves of the areas that we need to heal and the reasons why people act the way that they do. And one thing that also came up for me is that obviously you did enough healing to realize your father's intention and to realize he had a rough childhood and it was coming through for you and that generational trauma. And
yeah,
you're doing the work to break it, and how much work that takes.
it really does.
You're reminding us of that through your story. And I feel like for me in particular, with my own learning style, I learn the best through storytelling. They're not speaking out of turn, they've actually lived this stuff. Those are the people where my mind shuts up and I actually want to listen. So thank you for sharing that. I
Oh,
know
thank you.
that it brings you healing and it also brings you grief along the way to share.
Grief is not bad. It's there for a purpose, but you have to let it be grief. And if it
Instead of
comes up,
anger or whatever
yeah,
else. Yep.
yeah. So I'm noticing that I hold on to a lot of emotions. So I'm dealing with that as well.
Well, you'll have a lot more healing from it.
Yeah. Hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you. This has been a lovely conversation. It's
Yeah, it
great.
was.
I want to say thank you. You came up with some good points, and it's going to keep me occupied.
Oh, well, you know how to find me. Email me if
Yes,
you want to discuss anything along the way.
I will.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining our discussion. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, most of all, share the love with others. Please share this episode so that we can help other people really recalibrate every aspect of their lives so they can be the best version of themselves. And I will see you in the next episode. I want to have my quick disclaimer here that this is not a one size fits all. If you want one-on-one coaching, let's talk and we will make sure what wellness means to you is really put into your life, put into practice. I am using my undergrad in applied health and my life coaching experience to bring this podcast to you.